Hello everybody. On the football field, Cristiano Ronaldo is an undeniable figure. Not only in Portugal, but worldwide, his name is known as a living legend who has brought home numerous titles and achievements. However, in 2023, he took a surprising step, leaving Europe to join Al Nassr, a giant club from Saudi Arabia. This decision changed many things, not only in the world of football but also in much broader dimensions, religion, culture, and social life in Portugal. When Cristiano Ronaldo announced his move to Saudi Arabia, the world was stunned. It wasn't just because of his age, which made a career in top European leagues seem unlikely, but more because he chose to join a club in a country rarely in the spotlight of global football. Saudi Arabia, known for its Islamic culture and religion, suddenly became the center of global attention, especially for Ronaldo's fans in Portugal. For many, this decision felt like an unexpected step, yet one full of consideration. Since he first arrived in Riyadh, attention immediately focused on Cristiano Ronaldo, from football fans and media to the Saudi Arabian public itself. Not just his football skills were under scrutiny, but also how he adapted to life in a Muslim country rich in culture and Middle Eastern traditions. This was a new chapter in his life, one that, unexpectedly, would also influence many people in Portugal. Ronaldo is no ordinary figure. He is more than just an athlete, he is a global symbol. In Portugal, he is a hero, and even more than that, he is part of the country's identity. Every move he makes attracts attention, and every action becomes hot gossip on social media, television, and of course, among his loyal fans. When he chose to play in Saudi Arabia, this immediately sparked great curiosity. What is life like in a Muslim-majority country? What's so captivating about the Arab culture, so different from Europe? And more importantly, how does Ronaldo view Islam, which is a part of daily life in Saudi Arabia? All of these became intriguing questions, not just for football fans, but also for those who had not yet fully understood Islam. His decision not only introduced Saudi Arabia to the world but also made the culture and religion of Islam more known in Portugal, his homeland. Ronaldo's fans, who had always followed his career, were now curious about another side of his life in the Arab country. In interviews and social media posts, Ronaldo often spoke with deep respect for the culture and traditions in Saudi Arabia. He showed a calm, mature, and respectful side toward Islam, which indirectly sparked greater interest in learning about the religion. This wasn't just a sports phenomenon. It was a cultural bridge connecting two worlds that had not previously interacted much, the secular European football world and the tradition-rich Islamic world. Behind every match, every practice, and every interview, Ronaldo unknowingly planted a greater curiosity about Islam and life in Muslim countries. For many people in Portugal, Ronaldo is more than an athlete, he is a hero, a figure who brings pride. When the news of his move to Saudi Arabia spread, many in Portugal began to ask, what made Ronaldo choose to live in a country so far from home? Why did he decide to join Al Nassr, and what did he find there that made him feel comfortable? Most of his fans in Portugal began to research the country, from its history to its culture. Articles about everyday life in Saudi Arabia started to gain traction. Some were impressed by how the country tightly adheres to its traditions, while others were fascinated by the beauty of Islamic culture that is clearly reflected in the way people live. And more than that, more people started paying attention to the teachings of Islam itself, especially because Ronaldo always spoke so respectfully about the religion. It wasn't uncommon for Ronaldo's fans in Portugal to discuss aspects of life in Saudi Arabia in daily conversations, including how Muslim society leads their lives. It wasn't just about football anymore, but also about how religion and tradition play significant roles in their daily lives. Some became interested in learning more about Islam, while others began wondering if there were life values they could adopt from the way of life they saw through Ronaldo's social media. When Cristiano Ronaldo decided to pursue a new challenge in Saudi Arabia, its impact went far beyond the world of football. This wasn't just about moving from one league to another, but about a significant change that affected many aspects of life, particularly in the realm of religion. As he moved to a Muslim-majority country, more and more people in Portugal began to take a greater interest in Islam. What followed was a surprising phenomenon, the increasing curiosity about Islam among the people of Portugal. Ronaldo's decision to join Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia turned out to be a window into a new world for many people in Portugal. Previously, most Portuguese people might have only known Islam in limited ways, through the media or basic information about the second largest religion in the world. However, after Ronaldo moved to the Middle East, a wave of curiosity arose about Arab countries, and of course, about Islam. Many of Ronaldo's fans began to dig deeper into the country where Ronaldo was now playing. Social media, interviews, and even vlogs from journalists and observers living in Saudi Arabia became easily accessible sources of information. Fans wanted to learn more about daily life there, how the people of Saudi Arabia lived, how they practiced their faith, and how Islamic culture influenced their way of life. This interest was not just about football but about a deeper life, religion, culture, and tradition. Gradually, many people in Portugal began to open up to learning more about Islam. Some of Ronaldo's fans were inspired by the calmness and maturity that their idol displayed in a country where the majority of the population was Muslim. Through interviews where Ronaldo spoke with deep respect about Islam, many fans realized that this religion teaches many positive values that could be applied in everyday life. Ronaldo's move to Saudi Arabia didn't just change the football world, it also affected how many people viewed a religion and culture they had previously regarded as foreign. Before, life in Middle Eastern countries often seemed distant and somewhat misunderstood by Europeans, including the Portuguese. However, after hearing stories from Ronaldo and his fans, many people in Portugal began to open their hearts and minds. Some of Ronaldo's longtime fans started to view life in Saudi Arabia in a new light. They were curious to understand more about the daily life of Muslims, including how they practiced their worship, followed religious teachings, and interacted with one another. Ronaldo, without meaning to, had become a bridge connecting two very different worlds, the secular European football world and the Islamic world, rich in tradition and spirituality. This phenomenon wasn't just about curiosity or wanting to know more. Many fans felt drawn to learn more about Islam because they felt peace and tranquility in the way Muslims live. Most of those inspired by Ronaldo believed that the values in Islam, such as discipline, hard work, and respect for others, were admirable qualities. For them, it was an opportunity to embark on a deeper spiritual journey. Some started searching for books about Islam, watching religious sermons, or joining discussion groups about Islamic teachings. In some cases, this interest led to a desire to convert to Islam, a significant decision made with deep conviction. However, this journey was not always smooth. Understanding a religion so different from one's own cultural background was not easy. Some people interested in converting to Islam might face challenges from their social environment, whether from friends, family, or even society at large. In a more secular culture like Portugal's, changing religions is not something that is commonly accepted. Therefore, for some people, the journey toward understanding and accepting Islam also meant confronting internal and external challenges. These challenges, of course, vary from person to person, but what is clear is that this journey was one of profound meaning. For those who decided to convert, it was a big step that required deep reflection and understanding. One important factor in the rising interest in Islam in Portugal is the role of social media. With the growth of the digital world, information about Islam and life in Muslim countries has become easily accessible to anyone. Posts about Ronaldo discussing his life in Saudi Arabia, or photos of him sharing moments with fellow Muslim players, went viral and gained a lot of attention. Social media allowed Ronaldo to share his experiences with a larger audience, and many were inspired by the way Ronaldo expressed his respect for Islam and Middle Eastern traditions. Off the field, Ronaldo began to serve as a symbol of cultural harmony, encouraging people to look deeper into the teachings of Islam, which are often overlooked. Moreover, Ronaldo's fans in Portugal began using social media to discuss what they had learned about Islam. Discussion groups, accounts sharing stories of religious conversion, and videos explaining Islamic teachings started to emerge on platforms like YouTube and Instagram. This accelerated the spread of information about Islam among the people of Portugal. When Cristiano Ronaldo decided to start a new chapter in his football career in Saudi Arabia, he unknowingly triggered a social revolution in Portugal. This decision not only impacted the world of football but also influenced religion, culture, and the social life of the Portuguese people. One of the most significant outcomes of this phenomenon was the growing interest in Islam, which in turn led to a substantial increase in the Muslim community in Portugal. New mosques were built, Islamic cultural centers emerged, and a larger, more organized Muslim community began to take shape. As interest in Islam grew, one inevitable consequence was the need for more places of worship. Mosques, as sacred places for Muslims, became important symbols in the development of the Muslim community in Portugal. In recent years, the number of mosques in major cities across Portugal has increased significantly, reflecting a major demographic shift. One notable phenomenon is the construction of grand mosques in cities like Lisbon, Porto, and Braga. These new mosques not only serve as places of worship but also as community centers, introducing Islamic culture more broadly to Portuguese society. With their beautiful architecture and Middle Eastern ambience, these mosques have become not only gathering places for Muslims but also tourist attractions for those curious about Islam. For instance, in Lisbon, a mosque that was newly completed in 2024 has become one of the iconic buildings that unite Islamic architecture with the modernity of a European city. This mosque has a capacity for thousands of people, complete with spaces for religious activities, education, and culture. In addition, the mosque also offers various social programs that involve the local community, both Muslim and non-Muslim. The construction of these new mosques is not only focused on providing places for worship but also serves as centers for education. In these mosques, in addition to prayers, Muslims can participate in activities such as Quran teachings, Hadith studies, and seminars on Islam. For the Portuguese who are interested in learning more about Islam, mosques have become ideal places to seek information and a deeper understanding. With many new mosques being built, Muslims in Portugal now have comfortable spaces to gather and deepen their religious knowledge. For those who have recently converted to Islam, these mosques also provide a place to strengthen their faith and gain social support from fellow Muslims. In addition to the construction of mosques, one of the biggest impacts of the growing interest in Islam has been the formation of a larger and more organized Muslim community. Previously, the Muslim community in Portugal was relatively small and scattered, but with the increasing number of people interested in embracing Islam, this community has begun to grow rapidly. The Muslim community in Portugal is now not only growing in number but also in social and cultural involvement. Many Islamic cultural centers have been established to provide information about Islam and foster connections between Muslims and the broader Portuguese society. These centers host various events, ranging from religious lectures and Islamic art exhibitions to traditional cooking events showcasing dishes from Muslim-majority countries. One of the most well-known Islamic cultural centers in Lisbon is the Centro Islâmico de Lisboa, which has become a gathering place for Muslims from diverse backgrounds. This center is used not only for religious activities but also as a space for interacting with the local community and introducing Islam through social events. With an increasing number of events involving non-Muslims, more Portuguese people are becoming interested in learning about Islam in a more direct and personal way. The growing Muslim community is also involved in various social activities that engage non-Muslim society. This creates space for interfaith dialogue and enhances understanding between different groups. One of the most popular activities is the Open Mosque Day, where mosques in Portugal invite non-Muslim visitors to explore their places of worship, tour the facilities, and ask questions about Islamic teachings. These events help reduce tensions and misunderstandings that often arise between Muslim and non-Muslim communities. Furthermore, they offer an opportunity for people unfamiliar with Islam to gain accurate information directly from the source, without relying on stereotypes perpetuated by the media. Although the development of the Muslim community in Portugal has been rapid, there are various challenges that need to be addressed. One major challenge is the social acceptance from the predominantly non-Muslim society. Some people still view Islam through negative stereotypes, especially related to issues portrayed in international media. Therefore, it is important for the Muslim community in Portugal to continue working on building bridges of understanding with the wider society to foster more harmonious and supportive relationships. Additionally, although many mosques and Islamic cultural centers have been built, much remains to be done in terms of education and social support, especially for those who have recently converted to Islam. More intensive educational programs and psychological support for converts are essential to help them adjust to their new lives as Muslims. However, despite the challenges, there is still hope. With Portuguese society becoming increasingly open to religious diversity and the positive influence brought by figures like Ronaldo, the future of the Muslim community in Portugal looks bright. In the future, we may see Portugal as a more inclusive country where different religions and cultures can coexist peacefully. With the increasing number of mosques being built, the emergence of Islamic cultural centers, and the growing Muslim community, we can see that this phenomenon is more than just a passing trend. It is a sign of a larger change, one that leads to greater understanding, tolerance, and acceptance of religious diversity in Portugal. Through the construction of grand mosques, social activities, and efforts to introduce Islam to the broader society, Portugal is entering a new chapter in interfaith relations. Although challenges remain, the developments taking place indicate that Islam, once considered foreign by many in society, has now become an important part of Portugal's increasingly open social and cultural landscape.